What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of the new Prime Video drama series Daisy Jones and the Six, starring Riley Keough and Sam Claflin. Based off a popular novel, this is a oral history of a fictional 1970s rock band that broke up at the height of their fame. And there's a lot of, I think, obvious parallels to what this series is based off of or taking inspiration from. Obviously, it's completely fictional, as well as real life works that this will certainly call back to. I think overall, we've gotten 3 episodes so far on Prime. There'll be 3 next Friday, then 2 and 2 for a total of 10 episodes in this season. And I think for what I've seen so far, if you're like super interested in this book, which I haven't read, but if you're super like invested in this book, it's probably doing enough for you. But to me, it doesn't stand out quite enough to beyond like its obvious inspirations. I think those inspirations are in real life. The clear pull here will be Almost Famous, the classic Cameron Crowe movie. It's hard not to think of that as something that just does this better and will always do this better because that movie is a classic with iconic acting performances, iconic sing-along moments. Shout out Tiny Dancer. Like that premise is just done so well in that film. Doing it again here, you have your work cut out for you. The other side of that is, of course, what is Daisy Jones and the Six, this 70s rock band? What is this based off of, and the story of how this band broke up in terms of, love triangles and, issues with substance abuse and fame and everything? Well, it's so clearly, and the music and the aesthetics of this band in the show, it's so clearly based off Fleetwood Mac around the time of Rumors. Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham is Riley Keough and Sam Claflin. Like, it's so clearly inspired by that, but I don't know if it rises above just being pastiche. I think an issue with what I've seen so far is like the songs in Daisy Jones and the Six. They need to be, and these are originally created songs by songwriters that were created or hired to make these songs, because obviously we didn't hear any songs when the novel came out, of course. But these songs, I don't know if they're convincing enough that like this is like quote the biggest band in the world at the time, in taking place within the real world of the 70s alongside other bands like Rolling Stones. Bob Dylan is invoked in the first episode. Like, it's taking place in our world, but I just don't know if the music is convincing enough that you're like super believing in this band as being what they are. I think the acting though is probably the best thing about it so far. Riley Keough, I think, is everyone's pretty familiar with her at this point, and she is bringing a bit of history to this, obviously coming from the Elvis Presley family that she does. And then Sam Claflin, I think, is very convincing and effective as a like traditional like 70s rocker. He definitely has the look. He's a traditionally handsome guy. Like he's convincing as the frontman of this band before they meet Keough's character, Daisy Jones, and she gets brought in. You have Timothy Oliphant as a person in the record industry that they come across. Suki Waterhouse is part of the band as well. Um, I think it's all like fine and like looks pretty nice, but I just don't know if it's like quite interesting enough or quite deep beyond the premise. Like, once you understand the premise, and it's pretty easy to understand it because again, it's so familiar to stuff people already understand. I just don't know if there's enough to it. But if you're really into these actors, or you've read this book, or you're intrigued by the period setting, obviously it's fun to be in the 70s. Definitely. 70s rock is my favorite rock music. Like, I would love to spend more time with it for sure, but I'm just not sure if I'm completely captivated just yet. But I'll be curious how this release plan works. Dropping 6 episodes in the first, 8 days. Is that enough to make people want to finish it? We'll see. Let me know. Are you a book fan? Are you coming to this fresh? How'd you feel about those first 3 episodes? Did it do enough for you to make you want to keep watching? And for more TV reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.